Hey everybody, welcome to episode 78 of It's Just Bodybuilding. Dusty, Hanshaw, and myself coming at you from various locations. Right, Dusty?
I'm always somewhere.
We're going to have fun and catch up with a bunch of questions from Instagram on It's Just Bodybuilding. So, Dusty, I got to remember to say like, share, subscribe, comment, and ring the bell so we can do the banner.
Right up front this time. You did it up front. Nice job.
I'm terrible at it. I don't know why I'm so bad at doing that. I must just drive Scott crazy. You know, here he is trying to help us out, and I'm not doing the most basic thing every time.
I feel like you're just testing his skills.
Yeah.
Making sure that he, knows how to edit and slide things forward. And
there you go.
I do the same. I have to edit my face.
So you're in Jacksonville, Florida today.
Yes, I just landed today. That's why we pushed a little late here because of my flights and everything. But we're filming for Condemned this weekend, Condemned Labs. We're going to do my first weekend series. So we've already hit the grocery store. We've already hit lunch. Sweet. We're going to do some cooking, of course. And I guess some people might want to see me train. Who knows?
I see that on Instagram.
It's unimpressive.
I got to give a shout out to our man. You know the deal. Ryan Benthale from Metroflex Gym, Marietta, California, for just thinking that I needed a couple new Metroflex shirts and sending me 5 new Metroflex shirts. I already shouted them out before, but because of the big letters, they add 20 pounds of the size I've lost.
It's back though. Like I should just do that instead of eating all this food.
Right. You want to know what I weighed today, Dusty? Pec bounce and all? I was 249.9 this morning.
When is the last time you were under 250?
Well, I was 248.5 before Christmas, and then I accidentally carved up for a whole week. And it took
you slipped and fell and carved up for a week.
I slipped and fell and gained 15 pounds of muscle by accident just by eating. And and now I've managed to bikini diet myself back down under 250.
Let's point out that it took you over a month to lose that weight again, because that's how much your body wants to be 300 pounds.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. You know what? At one point, I went 14 days between my shots of test. I take that weekly shot of test. I even just went 14 days because I was like, I got to get lighter.
I love your logic. I'm going to throw my hormones up, but I got to come. You know what's funny about this, though? So I survived. I have a long-standing bet with Dante that when I retire, I told him, I'm just going to get down to 240.
He's just laughing at
awesome.
That. Yeah.
He literally laughed. And he was like, so he told me, he goes, listen, because he needed to get down for life insurance. He wanted to get down and weight to get better rates, And so he was dieting. He didn't care if he lost muscle. He didn't care what he did. He had to come down.
Yeah.
And he goes, you're cruising along. And then he said, Justin Harris would come into town. They'd spend 3 days together bodybuilding, eating, training. He goes, I'd step on the scale on Monday. Now I'm up 25 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, 3 days cancels out 8, 9, 10 weeks of work. And it's solid because he's wanted to be that heavy, for decades. He's been pushing up. And it's just, so hearing you say accidentally put on 15 pounds, I just don't want you getting any death threats. So I'm trying to explain to people why it works.
No, it's funny because what my thinking was is, how I really want to get better at my new hobby, And I figure I'll kind of consider 250 a much safer riding weight than 265. And the week of Christmas, I had started eating, and I was technically 260 when I fell and hurt myself. And I was like, I wonder if I would have got hurt if I would have been 250. You never know. So that's what I'm just telling them. I'm trying to be 250 now or less. I know it's tough. Less. So here's the problem. I like to lift weights.
Yeah, and you don't like to lift. You like to train. There's a difference.
I like to train. So it would be so easy if I was not interested in training anymore.
Right.
if I was like, oh, I'm done training, I'm going to go do yoga and ride my bike. That would be easy to lose weight. That's no problem. Like, I'd probably be 240 or 230 or, it would just drop down. But just by doing some sets to failure, here we go.
Exactly. You drop in a EAA and things get wild.
Yeah, no, I'm like, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Whatever you do not have 2 scoops of EAAs. You're never gonna get a low.
I can't take creatine. Why not? Oh, I just I get too big too fast. Right?
It's only funny because it's true. That's why
Remember when creatine first came out? People were like, am I going to get huge on this? It's like, no, it's a long-term thing. It's just it's a systemic over time making you better and more. You know what I mean? Like, how when you explain creatine to someone. Yeah. And then now at this point in my life, I'll get too big.
They throw 1 scoop in your shake on accident and you're pissed.
I'm kidding. I take creatine every day because I think it's good for you in a lot of other ways. Did you know there's some studies? Here I am. I'm going to say something that is totally possibly false, but I'm going to say it as if I know it's true.
I do it all the time.
I'm pretty sure. No, I'm going to preface it by saying I'm pretty sure. And you might remember this study too, but they have some really good evidence now that creatine might be good for long-term cognitive health in old people, like reducing your dementia odds and all that stuff. Did you read that too?
Right. That was a bit ago. Yeah. I think what's interesting though is like most people don't even realize that, like creatine, Yeah. Like that's what makes it up. And people are like, I can't take that. I'm like, well, then I hope you're not eating steak.
Yeah, because it's technically a protein,
Yeah.
Okay. I got tons of questions, but I want to hear how Dusty's doing. You're strong as shit. Is this the strongest you've ever been in your whole life?
I think it might be. Like yesterday was one of those days. We took about a month once I got all my new toys because I had been back to the basics is all I had. So it was barbell rows, floor, dead stops, whatever. Well, once we got all the new hammer equipment in, I spent like a month just playing on it. And then yesterday I was like, we gotta get back to rowing. And I realized that, it's funny because you don't know when you're coming back to a movement. I put 405 on and I was like, I knew I was going to touch it. But you pull like 4 reps and it's literally nothing. You don't have a belt yet. And you're like, oh shit. Like this is going to be a good day, Well,
so, that's
things are moving good. Things are moving good. And I swear to you, I put it all back on my PT has got me healthy.
Right.
I'm going in every single week and it's not cheap. But it is absolutely worth it. Between that and just getting back to eating, it's pretty wacky. I mean, it drives home what you and I already know, but it's funny when because I was eating. My goal.
What do we already know? Is that thing about slutty girls?
That's always the case. They're fantastic.
Oh no, sorry, I'm mistaken. I'm off. Yeah. I got confused.
Well, but now that we're on the subject, wait, never mind. Okay, we'll go back.
I got plenty.
It's amazing that you find out how simple the food is, and that's the magic. Because all I did is I went back to eating 7 meals a day. It's like,
yeah, that'll help.
We're strong again.
That'll help.
But I hate it. So, by the way, I'm gonna need more videos on the bike.
Oh, do you like that?
I do. Because you got to understand something. I don't want to insult you here, but dare I say you're getting athletic again?
Oh goodness. Well, I got a few moves. I got a few moves.
I see. When you make a transition, all I can think of is how hard I would fall trying to do that.
So what the main thing I've discovered about riding the bike is?
What's that?
I am. Every time I go to do a trick and I come off the bike because I'm, I can't hold my center of gravity or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's always because I relaxed my core. Like the core, it's all core. Like I am constantly flexing my abs when I'm on that thing. Because you have to stay rigid, But it's crazy because the guys look like they're flowing like water, but their cores are like totally locked, and they know that every little twist and turn is core muscle pulling and yanking.
Yeah.
And so like I'll do a little move and it looks pretty simple and like easy, but I'll be like afterwards, and like my abs are sore today. I rode for 3 hours last night with those guys.
That's
and
awesome.
And like my obliques are sore and my rib muscles are kind of sore. And yeah, it's funny.
Have they ever seen
very
someone your size on a bike?
They were pretty cool. I showed up and they were like, "Oh, hey," like, you know.
We're riding bikes, right?
So that was the first time I met those guys. So I got invited to jam with these Flatlanders, and they're like legit. Like, you see the tricks they were doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like they invite me to ride. I'm like, oh. So at first I'm like, well, I don't want to get in your way. And they're like, well, no, we just literally need people to ride with. Like just come down. Like, we don't care how good you are. And I was like, oh, okay, And then he was bugging me to go down last night, and I was like, I haven't been on my bike in a month. Like, I was planning on getting back on it today, right? February 1st was my goal. And he's like, oh, well, we're going there at 6:30, show up if you want. And I was like, fuck, I should get down there. So I showed up, and yeah, we had a blast. But yeah, it was awesome. And the funny part was, I don't really like riding in front of people right now because, like, I only pull off like 2 out of 10 tricks, right? It's all practice. So I don't really want to ride in front of anybody. And they're like, oh, yeah, we're riding at the shipyards. And I didn't really know what that was because it's like in North Van. So I just Google shipyards and it gives me the address and whatever. And I show up and it's like right in front of Joey's restaurant, Shipyards, which is like one of the nicest Joey's in Vancouver. And the Shipyards is like this trendy marketplace with all these shops and tap houses and coffee shops and there's this like open courtyard area that's just massive and it's covered. So even if it's pouring rain, it's totally dry. And at 6:30, most of the shops close. So they just move some of the picnic tables out of the way and we get this big area to ride. But it's right in front of Joey's, which is like constantly packed. Right. There's like a lineup to get in. So we're like riding in front of people the whole night. There's like a lineup of people getting into Joey's.
The exact opposite of what you've been trying to do.
Yeah. So it's actually, like, I think it's, if it was up to me, I wouldn't have ridden in front of anybody, but I think it's actually good for you. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's like, hey, buddy, if you want to do this, someone's going to be, you can't always hide away in a perfect little situation where you're in a parkade with no, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It was sort of like a little snap of reality. So it was like, it was fun. So, it's like, you can't train in the gym alone forever.
Right.
There's going to be people around.
Though, I mean, were you a little more successful last night?
At
with
first,
some of your stuff?
At first, I was like, it took me a long time to pull anything off. I probably rode for an hour before I pulled off a single trick.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I pulled off a trick and I was like, oh, okay. It's like you break the seal.
Right.
It's like you're working really hard to bang a girl and you're not sure if you can bang her. And then once you bang her once, you're like, I'm in.
Yeah, it's good. We're good. I'm that guy.
Yeah, you bang her the next day and the next day and the next day. And yeah, you're on a roll.
And it doesn't until later you found out she was disappointed the entire time.
Yeah. It doesn't matter at that point. Hey, Dusty, the only thing I don't want to be is forgotten.
So on either end of the spectrum is okay as long as you're remembered.
Yeah. You know what I mean? I'd rather be like, I remember Ron. That fucking thing you did? That was weird. Yeah.
It was weird.
Better than not remembering, right? Like, did I? Oh, wait. You don't want that.
Asking their friends, did I? I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. So you got some questions? You want cues?
I do. I've got some questions, which I told you I didn't really get a lot of time, and thankfully, the followers jumped in for me anyways. Saved my day. There we go. Here's a good one right off the bat. What's your opinion on fat grips?
Oh, so I need to get a hold of the guy from Fat Grips because he messaged me. Maybe someone can help me out. The guy who owns I think he's the guy that owns Fat Grips. He messaged me from his personal account, but I can't. I thought it was just Fat Grips messaging me so then I went to message him back. I was like, oh shit, it was his personal account, and I couldn't remember his Instagram thing, and I just wasn't spelling it right. So maybe you can send it to me. But anyways, he sent me a pair of Fat Grips. Unfortunately, there was a spelling error. they got the T and the L in my name flipped.
Ah.
Right. So it I appreciate the fat grips, fucking cool, but there was a spelling error, and I was trying to get a hold of him on Instagram. And you know how it is, you get lost in your messages, and you're
yeah.
oh my God, I thought I was talking to the Fat Grips account, and I just forgot, and then I just couldn't find the dude again. So maybe someone can help me out there. But I was gonna let him know, thank you for the Fat Grips, but I had a spelling error. Anyways, aside from that, I used them on the Easy Bar.
Mm-hmm.
And very humbling and quite a miserable experience
Which means you loved it.
Forearm pump and pain. So, I see Jay using them all the time, having fun with them. Boom, boom, boom. So, yeah, I don't know. I've only tried them a few times. I wouldn't use them. Like I see some guys at the gym doing like presses with them.
Right.
I probably wouldn't do that because I'm just like Mr. Safety now,
I wouldn't do it either because my argument is, I guess someone at the end wants the benefit.
Yeah, I think they're trying
I know what it is on a curl. I know what it is. You know what I mean?
Right,
on a pole,
right.
I don't really get it when it's resting on my palm.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering about the presses. Imagine doing rows of them. That'd be really tough. But yeah. I obviously holding a fatter bar is tougher. I remember the first time I encountered unusually fat dumbbells. And it was, so I was 19 and I had arrived on the Gold Coast in Australia, and I went to Archer's Gym, and Archer's Gym was like this fucking of all the gyms I've ever been in my life. It was one of the most memorable places. I walked in there and it was just like 90% juice heads.
Chemical warfare.
Oh, it was just all the Aussie guys from that area that were training. And all the Masters champions were there. The state guys were there. The NABA guys were there. The owner's name was Dave, and he was like a national multiple Masters natural champion, Right. And but there were like trophies all along the wall, and it was just a awesome gym. But I remember the first time I went to do chest there, like day one, and I grabbed the fucking dumbbells, and I swear the handles were like that.
Yep, I've used those before.
And it took a while for me to get used to the dumbbells at Archer's Gym. And some of the guys used to say, they're like, yeah, we all have bigger forearms here because of these big fat dumbbells.
Right.
I just so yeah, that was just a memory I have of having to get used to big fat dumbbells at one point. And then you go to a gym that has like the kind of skinnier than usual dumbbells, and they're so easy to hold pressing them.
But I hate that though. I feel like it just levels my hand. We have a couple at our gym.
Bones.
Yeah, it's like there's pain. It's funny, but once I used them a couple times, and Tommy gives me shit now because if I need the 110s, but that's the small one, I just do the 120s.
Right, you just skipped because they don't all match.
Yeah, well they're smaller, and I'm just like, they bug me, so I'm like, I'll just get stronger. I'll do the 120s. That makes sense to me. Right. My logic is a little skewed.
Yeah, but I actually appreciate that question because I really, really want to get a hold of that dude.
You just lined up for how you could get this done.
Yeah. I forgot I had this show I can use.
You can use me anytime, Ron.
There we go. So I have a question here for you.
Shoot.
I think we could have a little more fun. I'll ask the question, and then we can.
And then we're gonna tweak it.
Yeah, we'll just go with it. Thoughts on mushrooms in bodybuilding? He's talking like Zoomers. I did it. I did one trip, and it really seemed to help my anxiety while I was on my cycle. I don't know about that part. Maybe he gets anxious, some stuff. I've never really had that. But anyways, thoughts on mushrooms? How many times have you done mushrooms, Dusty?
Tons. Once a month. And then,
really?
And then microdose every day.
Oh, Dusty, let's hear about this.
You're like, oh. No,
so ladies and gentlemen, things are starting to make sense now.
It's all becoming clear.
There's all these little like little things I've picked up being friends with Dusty where I'm like, and now they're all just like coming together. Like it's starting to like, okay.
Okay, so the first.
So did you take them like back in the hockey days? You guys partied and took some mushrooms?
No, it wasn't that long ago, actually. It was just because anxiety, being busy, and all things.
Oh,
and
okay.
you start to realize that you're focused on overwhelmed essentially all the time.
So wait a minute. So you're actually a part of this. You're actually kind of a part of this new, like, using mushrooms from some sort of mental health management.
It was a plan. Yeah, no, it was very much so. I had talked to a friend, and she broke it down for me. She was like, "Look, here's what you're gonna do. She was like, get 3.5 grams, and do half." And then she sent me a playlist, and she was like, "Go by the pool or literally lay in the dark, and just hang out and listen to this playlist, and that'll be that." So of course I was like, okay, cool. Half, 3.5 is, I don't really know what that is. Okay, we'll do 3.5. So I took those. And you know what it was is, truthfully, what I can tell you beyond the story I got, and it might be because of who I am, it was much bigger than it was for me. It wasn't some life-changing thing, but I definitely realized that I didn't, remember the show Office Space?
Oh yeah.
That was me the next day.
Oh.
Just realized, didn't really care. And what I mean by that, not kidding as far as the show, but you kind of realize how much you're way overdoing. So now the microdosing just knocks off the edge every day. I don't even feel it. Microdose, you don't even know you're doing.
So what's microdose to you?
Well, I actually buy them. They're already capsuled.
Right. Are they like 100 milligrams psilocybin, or what are they? Do you know?
Dude, I don't even know. My guy makes them for me because he knows exactly what I wanted. And I just take one a day, and it just knocks the edge off. And you know what it is? It sounds funny or like I'm kidding, but it makes sure that the little annoyances in life, particularly in a gym, they don't bother you.
Right. Right.
I got a lot more in my life now. But once a month, I do like to do the full. And I have found that every time it's a little more advanced, and I'm a little more chill the next day. And I've only ever done them alone.
Wow, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I had a buddy of mine. A buddy of mine gave me just a big handful of psilocybin capsules.
I was gonna say, I'm like, I give you an exact. It's like I took a big handful.
No, he gave me a handful of caps. I don't know how many caps he gave me, but I put them in a bottle. I think I must have like 20 caps. But he told me they're 250 milligram. So I got to like research. I've had some people tell me that like hundreds are better for microdosing. So I'm not sure. I'll have to read.
I have to look. So I mean, like I said, I literally don't know what mine are, but it seems like just mathematically that 250 you might actually notice.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Anyways, so the most mushrooms I ever took once was 6 grams at once.
Oh,
yeah, we did. That? Yeah, that was so I was cleaning out my freezer once. This is like 2008. I was cleaning out my.
So there I was
cleaning out my freezer. And you always find something in the freezer, Dusty.
Sometimes
you find like a bag.
Sometimes it's otter pops, and sometimes it's mushrooms.
Bag of green beans that's like totally freeze dried, like just unedible. Or like a bag of fish you bought because you're like, I'm gonna eat some fish. You're like, no, you're not gonna eat any fish, you fucking moron. Why'd you buy fish? It's off season. And the fish sits at the bottom of the freezer. So
it's down there with fallen otter pops. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. There you go. And a bunch of ice cubes that fell out of the tray. And I pull out this bag, and as soon as I grab it, I see all this tinfoil in it, and I'm like, oh my God, no way. And I open it up, and it's 12 grams of mushrooms. And I remembered that my buddy had them. It had been easily 10 years since I'd taken mushrooms, almost 10 years. And my buddy had them, and he gave them to me. And I was like, I'm never going to take these. And I put them in my freezer.
Right.
And I was like, holy fuck. So I called him up and I said, remember those mushrooms you gave me like years ago? And then I moved and brought them with me.
You moved them?
I'd moved. Yeah. I just, And I'm like, I just found them. And he just laughed. And I'm like, we should boil them up. So we boiled them up and we watched 2 movies. We watched Hot Tub Time Machine,
Great choice.
That was actually like pretty spectacular pick.
This is a great choice.
Yeah. And then we watched a Viking movie called Valhalla. That was awesome. And that was quite the night. That was when I had a bit of a rough night because I wanted it to end. And
you did.
You don't really have any control. After a few hours, I was like, okay, I've had enough of this. I got enough of this. And now
That's not how that works. That's not how that works, especially when you take
committed,
a nap.
kid. You're committed.
You're in.
You're committed. So yeah, that was the last time I did mushrooms, and I was like, I'm never doing them again. But then, my buddy gave me some capsules. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe there'll be a weekend. I'll take one and just see what happens.
It's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do.
Too. It's not a drug. That's why I do like to drive that home when people hear that. Yeah, exactly. Which is essentially what we do in bodybuilding anyway. So isn't it kind of synergistic?
I remember the very first time I took mushrooms was Canada Day, like 1998 or something. It was like Canada Day, and everyone's going to go to fireworks. And I remember I had 1 gram of mushrooms, and we went to the fireworks park. And I was like, awesome. You're like, just like, young kid, just crazy experience, watching the fireworks. Everything's awesome. You're laughing, you're eating. I had a big box of Smarties. I'm eating a big box of Smarties, big 260-pound fucking eating a big bag.
Child.
Yeah. And then we go to the bar that we all worked at. And I remember coming in the bar and I was like, wow, everything's uphill. Like, I'm walking across the bar, but it's like uphill. Like I'm like walking uphill, like an incline treadmill. I'm like walking uphill, like through the bar.
Trudging.
Everywhere was uphill. And I remember just being fascinated with that. And I knew it wasn't actually uphill, but I was like, kind of like, wow, it seems uphill. Like it was just the craziest experience.
You have a little different experience every time. The first time I did, I remember so 2 things. Number 1, I was told that I wouldn't be able to function my phone once they hit. She was like, you probably won't even be able to. So, of course, that was a challenge to me.
She said you wouldn't be able to use your phone?
Yeah, like texting and like. Yeah. So, of course, that was a challenge because I'm a child. So I was like, I'm texting, like, I'm using my phone right now. They're like, them apples. I'm working. Sorry, clients. But the other thing was I just remember when I was just kind of waiting to see what was going to happen, I just started laughing. I'm alone in my room.
Yeah.
Psychopath.
Oh yeah.
And then you're thinking about it because in the beginning, you're kind of questioning everything that's happening. I'm like, I don't even know why I'm laughing. But then it become like the in church laugh where you couldn't stop. All by yourself, the dogs are looking at me, judging, watching what's going on. But to answer his question, I don't think any of those type of things coincide with building. Kind of said together, like. Don't try to make it about bodybuilding. This is its own animal. Right. But if knocking the edge off is helpful for you, like it is for me, do your thing.
There you go. Interesting. I also must say my best mushroom experience, Dusty, was I took a little bit. I can't remember. I ate like one of those big rat tail stems, And I ate one for the 2001 AC/DC Stiff Upper Lip Tour show in Edmonton. So we had like a big mouthful of mushrooms, had some chocolate, washed it down in the car, went in. Soon as we got in, they came on. And that was just like wild. What a wild show. Yeah. Pretty hard to compete with like your favorite band in concert with great seats and like, a gram of mushrooms.
So I'm gonna have to challenge you a little bit. All I'm hearing is good stories. There's no bad experience.
Well, the last time when I did the hero dose, the 6 grams, that's when I was like, my stomach was upset.
That was just stupid.
Yeah. Well, exactly. You do stupid things, and
So don't blame them. I think you need to give them another chance. Is what I'm saying.
Give shrooms a chance. Okay.
Bring them back in your life, sir. Bring them back in your life.
I will. That was a good one. I wasn't expecting that.
We should do them on the show. Wait, never mind.
Halloween episode.
Exactly.
Hey, We'll say it now, but we won't mention it again all year, and then we'll just see if anyone notices on the Halloween episode.
Yeah. Did they or did they not? That is the question.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, let's see. Okay, that's a good one. Advice for new ambassadors on how to help grow within a company and stand out.
Well, I mean, usually with ambassadors, they really want you to just be yourself and be active and show off your personality. And I mean, I don't really know how to put that into words, you know? I mean, yeah, they want their one post, you know, whatever, one post a week and a story, 2 stories a week. I don't know, whatever the quota is, right? You know, they get the social media numbers, they give you the thing, but then you want to find a way to rise above that. Like that's the minimum. And if you do the minimum, then you're just doing the minimum. And like, that's not how you get ahead in life.
Well, how did you catch Mutant's eye to the point where they employed you?
I was constantly,
because it wasn't bodybuilding, you know what I mean? I mean, obviously you had that, but
well, I was constantly giving creative input.
Right.
So like they'd say, oh, well, you know, we want to do this thing with this thing. And I'd go, hey, you know what? I think it would be awesome if we did it this way or that way, or we at least had a part of it be like this, or maybe we did this, or we should all wear this shirt, or, you know, and you like, and then, so then that, you know, I don't know, how do you put that into words that knows that lets them know that you actually care about the product, like the, not the product, but like the product, the media, you know, the video, you know, and I remember constantly having ideas like Mutant on a Mission was my idea.
Yep.
You know, I went to Ryan and I was like, we should go, we're traveling anyways. Why don't we just stay an extra day or 2 and I'll go off and film a gym. We'll find a cool gym and we'll just do the show.
Right.
And then, you know, he even asked, well, what are you going to call it? And I said, Mutant on a Mission. And he was like, holy shit, that's actually a really good name.
Did you come up with that like almost on the fly? Because he
just, right there on the fly. He said, what are you going to call it? And I remember I didn't have the name, but we had Mutant Minutes, Mutant Meals, and Mutant Mashups.
Right.
And so I just was like, well, the alliteration is just a natural thing. So I just thought, I'm the mutant and I'm on a mission. So I just said it. Yeah. It's just
like,
but you have to, you know, you have to contribute, you know, if you just do your one post and that's it. You know, I mean, if you got good ideas, tell them your good ideas. Bring your ideas. Fuck yeah, they might not use any of them, but you know, that's just how it goes. At least they know that you're like thinking and trying, and you know, I don't know. Is that what do you think?
No, I think he nailed it. It's funny because we actually had just had this conversation in the car on the way from the airport, and that was what Michael had said. Is some of his ambassadors will just have a post that hits a chord, or you know, some of the times the ambassadors put more effort in than the athletes on executing an idea. You know what I mean?
Right.
And with the right company, that gets seen and used. So then he turns around and now they're on Condemned's page. You know what I mean? Being shared, whether it's on the stories or even the post itself. So I think it's, you know, I think you treat yourself like you're already one of the athletes, and you might become one.
Right. Yeah. You know what I mean? And another thing too, while we're at it, it's not necessarily always about moving up either. It's about building your reputation.
Right.
As someone who is invested in what they do.
Yep.
You know, because like, yeah, you might be an ambassador and you might have all these great ideas and you might really try and you might not move up. But everyone involved, everyone who's working with you now knows what you're about.
Right.
And other doors open for you when that starts to add up and accumulate, you know, when 10, 20, 30, 40 people in the industry all know that you're a hard worker and that you fulfill your obligations and that you show up on time. And then your name comes up with somebody about some project and someone goes, hey, he's great. I know he used to be with this company and he was really good and blah, blah, blah. Like that's how it works. You know, that's just how life is. And so it's not always about getting ahead in your current job or role or situation, but you have to build your reputation with everyone around you and your coworkers and your fellow ambassadors and all that stuff. That's what I think.
Agree.
Okay. My turn?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What was the biggest challenge of 2020 in your personal life and your business life?
Okay. Personal life was actually, I had a lease on a condo, and I extended the lease until the end of the year, knowing full well I was trying to figure out if I wanted to buy a house or what I wanted to do, because I bounced around a little bit. I kind of felt like I needed to buy a house. So I extended my lease, and then I get a call one day from the property management company saying that the owner would like for me to be. Hey, Jed.
I guess Emily's home.
Guess so. Would like me to be out in 30 days.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's cute, but I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, for sure.
But long story short, what it came down to was she was in a tough spot.
Just hold on for a sec. Yeah? We're recording the show.
You can come in.
Okay.
So I had to go human on it, because the owner of the place had moved with a boyfriend, and it didn't work, and now is essentially homeless and staying on someone's couch, more or less, trying to start a business back in Arizona because she had actually left the state. And so it came down to, okay, I want to do the right thing and help this person out and get out of here sooner. So I started making moves to do that, but she tested my patience by almost making it seem like I needed to.
Right.
And that's when I started having a little dilemma between who I am and what was the nice thing to do. So so that made that very difficult because I had both of my angel and my devil deciding what we were going to do. So I was able to get out for her. I made it a financially strong move for me with all the things I didn't pay and all the things I got back.
Right.
So it worked out in the end. So yeah, that was the toughest actually, which is probably not all that someone would think. And then business, you know what's crazy? My business cranked through all of 2020.
Yeah.
I never slowed down. I got busier. If anything, my business surprise was that I have some of the most resilient clients and customers on the planet that just found a way, and in some ways even like inspired me when I looked at what they were willing to do to find a way to train. You know what I mean? I think I had told you before, like I have the one guy who actually came up with the idea of using umbrella stands as plates because he couldn't get plates and drilling
I love that
holes
story.
fit. Well, now he's built out a shed now. He's built up cable crossovers. He's built calf raises. He has a whole gym that he has now built for himself because, the UK has shut down again. I mean, his shed, it's like, it's a gym.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The majority of what is in there is not purchased equipment. So yeah, I on the business side, I got lucky, man. Everything cranked, and it definitely, as you know, it took some work because now I'm one big change, of course, for us. I know you went through it too. Is I was like, okay, what do you have for equipment? I'm going to build each single person's training around what they have.
Right.
Which was a pain, but we got it done. How about you?
I'd say the personal challenge, like my life. Looking back on it, I mean, obviously the business challenge was COVID owning a gym.
Yep.
That's it, flat out. COVID owning a gym. I mean, the business went through a lot this year. It was a big deal. But again, the customers, the support, the unwavering loyalty of the members, kind of verified everything that we were doing there.
Right.
building a gym, not caring about anything really but the gym, focusing on the gym floor where the gym equipment is, right. like that's the, like I've talked about how, it was kind of, COVID was, I don't ever want to use the word blessing, but COVID was really interesting in that it changed the game and sort of tilted the gym model in our favor, at least for a while. Like all the big chains that have, $1 million bathrooms with giant showers and all the locker room space, and all of a sudden you're not allowed to have more than 5 people in your locker room at a time, and you can't use the showers.
Right. So
now these gyms have 20,000 like 2,000 wasted square feet.
Right.
Of space that they aren't really able to utilize. And they'll have like a giant group room, like a, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000 square foot group room, and they can't have yoga classes.
Yep.
So it's just wasted space. They got like a couple bikini girls posing in there, and some guy doing abs in the corner, and just a fucking empty room. And then everyone's in the gym on the equipment, and they can only have so many people. So it just shifted the whole notion of capacity and space and layout. And for a gym like us, that's like, okay, we have, 90% is gym floor, 10% is everything else.
Yeah.
It just kind of tilted it in our favor, and it made us, we were able to function. And, so obviously wrestling with, capacity and, payroll was huge this year at the gym because COVID required you to have more staff. Like you have to have 2 people on. You can't ever have 1 person on. Right. So while that's how it was, you're supposed to have 2 people on. Like, they had this thing for a while where you're supposed to have 2 people on. So, even if it was like 5 a.m. and we only need 1 person, all of a sudden had that double. So that was payroll's an issue. And like, you're like, oh geez, you're covering all these costs. And we found out we spend $1,500 a month on paper towel now. Right.
Those are the things people don't think of.
So yeah, just like all that stuff, it all adds up, and it changed the game. And the gym industry was very dynamic this year, and you had to be able to like make quick decisions and just go with you. Like you couldn't, you couldn't waver. You had to make decisions. You had to commit. And it was interesting. As far as the clients go, I'm sort of in the same boat as you. Like I was really, really shocked. I you have people that lost their gym, and I'd be like, well, hey man, I'll put your payment on hold. And they'd be like, no, I'm going to get a squat rack. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, awesome. Let's get a rack and some dumbbell. I didn't know where you were at. I thought you were like, blah, blah, blah. And, just
you're letting me know because you were done. Yeah.
Yeah. Just their commitment was extremely high. So yeah, that was all awesome. So the business actually turned out good, but it was extremely stressful, lots of stress, but turned out well. It was quite the year. And, on a personal level, I'd say the main challenge personally this year was managing all the crazy nonsense, bullshit news and fear mongering and all that stuff. I had to because at first I was following everything on Twitter and I'm following everything and I'm like, I can't pay attention to all this stuff anymore. You had all the election stuff, plus you had all the COVID stuff.
Right.
And I was just like, I can't be paying attention because I like to know what's going on. I like to have an informed opinion on stuff, relatively informed. I know that you got to watch 2 different channels to form an opinion because
yeah, for sure.
Anyone who's watching one channel is living in a fucking bubble. So I would watch the crazies on this channel, and then I'd watch the fucking lunatics on this channel, and I'd go, okay, let's see what's going on. I had to stop. Yeah. Because I started losing my mind at how they were both lying.
Yeah, because you're so blatant.
Yeah, you're both always taking the least charitable view of your opponent's statement.
Yep.
Like someone will say something, and the people on this side take the least charitable view of that statement and interpret it the worst possible way. And then the people on this side would do the same thing to someone on this side, least charitable way,
So you ever see that Instagram post that says in the world of social media, if you say something like, I like orange juice, people will jump on there and go, oh, so you hate pomegranates, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's essentially how.
So what you're saying is That's like
Yeah.
that famous interview
You're
with
like-
George Peterson's, right? So what you're saying is, no, that's not what I'm saying. I didn't say it at all. And then the very next thing. So what you're saying is, no, again, that's not what I actually said. Like
Yeah,
that was
that was the entire year on both sides.
that was the entire year. And there came a point when I realized that I because I like to stay informed and I like to know what's going on, and I realized this wasn't good for me.
Right.
And I stopped watching all national news. So I literally, for months, I had no idea what was going on in Canada. I only knew what was going on in my very local region for the COVID count, so that I could estimate where the business shutdowns were kind of going to go. Like, fuck, okay, we're going up. Oh, we're going down. Okay, I think we're going to be okay. Like I was literally just watching the local COVID count. And I know that number is very largely meaningless because we don't test a lot of people out in BC and yada, yada. But at least it's consistently either moving up or down.
Yeah.
It's like a broken scale. So, it's not the correct number, but at least you know where it's trending. So that's the only thing I paid in literally in the entire country of Canada. I paid attention to the COVID count in my local area. That was it. And then I deleted my Twitter and I deleted my Facebook app off my phone. And the rest of the year was pretty easy after that.
Yeah. Stop worrying about it.
Yeah. And I saw so many people spiral down into a disastrous mess on Facebook and stuff like that. Because I'd still check Facebook on my laptop once in a while. Yeah. And I'd see these people that are just devoting every minute of their online time to like ranting and raving about politics and COVID and how like horrible the other side is. And, I just was like, oh man, you guys got to turn your Facebook off. Go spend time with your fucking kids. Go to the gym. Like, do something else. You must be the best person in the world to hang out with.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. Is if you bury yourself in negativity, what do you think?
Yeah, craziness.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for watching another podcast here at Think Big Bodybuilding Media. And thank you to our great sponsor, TrueNutrition.com, for making this all possible. TrueNutrition.com is owned by Dante Trudell, the creator of DC Training. He wanted to create a supplement company that offered high-quality, third-party tested supplements at a fair price. High-quality protein powders, just about every type you could think of. Huge variety of flavors, plus health and performance supplements. Check them out, TrueNutrition.com. And hey, if you use our code ADVICES, you directly support our podcasting. Thanks, guys. Let's get back to the program.
Okay. You got one?
Now we're into the important stuff. Finally. What's your favorite dessert, Ron?
My favorite dessert? Well, like proper
Emily
dessert,
does not count.
nice good piece of chocolate cake with some vanilla ice cream. You can't beat that. That's a classic.
Do we let any raspberry get in there, or is it just chocolate?
You could drizzle some strawberry or raspberry on there. Would both be good.
Okay.
But yeah, I do like it depends. The cake is what counts.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And a real like vanilla bean ice cream too. Like not the you don't want the Snow White French. You know what? You want the one with the black bits in it.
Yes.
The Breyers.
I'd back that 100%. I do. For me, if I have to name like a dessert, it would be carrot cake. There's a place in Phoenix. Well, Phoenix got to the whole thing, Mastro's, and they have one that's, it's a monster.
Yeah, the crazy the hero size.
Yeah, so I took one home once. I didn't really. The restaurant's okay, to be honest. For a 5-star place, it's mediocre. But I've been known to go there just to pick up a carrot cake and go home. So one day I picked it up and I weighed it. It was over 2 pounds.
Damn.
And then I realized that that's why it was the love of my life.
I also love lemon meringue pie.
Ooh.
Fucking love lemon pie. My mom used to make the best lemon pie. She'd make it from scratch. No mix. She'd do the crust herself and everything.
The crust is the game, though. That's the key.
Yeah.
You ain't buying store-bought crust and finishing that out properly.
No.
No, sir.
Good. My cousin told me the funniest story about my mom. She actually told me at my mom's funeral. at my mom's service. She told me a funny story about my mom. So my mom was quite the cook, right? And she took a lot of pride in like she made dessert. It was like, she made the crust from scratch,
She came to play.
Yeah. She's like, really, really knows how to make dessert. So anyways, my cousin Jenny always admired her cooking.
Right.
And Jenny decided to get like a bit brave and make a lemon pie.
Right.
And so she called my mom and got the recipe for the lemon pie, and my mom gave it to her over the phone and told her exactly what to do, and And so she made it, and she sent a photo of it. And my mom's reply was, "It looks pretty good. I see you bought a crust."
I love it.
Because she thought it was just unspoken that she wasn't going to make the crust. Like, it's her first lemon pie.
Yeah.
She just wanted like the recipe for the filling, because it's like the real scratch lemon filling, right? And so my mom sent her everything. And she said when she got the recipe, she even like saw the crust recipe, and she's like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to make the crust. Like, no one expects me to make the crust." That's like an expert move, right? So yeah, I always laughed. I thought, I hope I have a bit of that sense of humor.
I just love that because that's how I would be like, oh.
Yeah, that you would do that. Oh, it looks pretty good. I see you bought a crust.
See, you ruined the entire thing. Why would you put my lemon in that shit box?
Yeah. So that's a dessert.
That's classic.
Is it mine?
Yes.
Okay. Are you wearing pants in this photo? Oh, okay, that's not.
Were you?
Oh, I put up a shirtless photo with my ask questions. It was just like a close-up shot.
You realize you just said it sounded like you said I put up a photo with my ask questions. You need to enunciate the K.
Oh, my ask question. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. But if they have any ask questions, feel free to fire away. I do consider myself an expert.
I got you there too, kids.
So here's one, and this is a good one because I struggled with this my whole life as a bodybuilder. I had some problem areas. Couldn't figure them out. What are your go-to techniques for trying to fix asymmetries and imbalances?
We're talking left to right or the whole body?
Yeah, I think they mean left to right. And I sort of take it to mean visually.
Yeah, I would assume visually.
The bodybuilder point. Because I've had interesting things where my smaller bicep is actually stronger than my bigger bicep.
So is mine.
Which is really fucked up. And then I couldn't, for the life of me, get the smaller bicep to fucking catch up. But it actually got stronger than the other bicep at one point. And it wouldn't grow. You just fucking couldn't get it to catch up. You know what I mean? So yeah, frustrating. What do you think you gotta try? What are the things that might help?
Well, I mean, first, I know everyone's immediate is a little more volume on that side, which is fine. But actually, what I would be looking at is what's the tissue like? Is that tissue tighter? Does it need to be, so now I've got a routine I do with scraping, cupping, and then needling. Cupping, when the cup is moving, is actually separating the muscle from all the other tissue in there. If you hit a muscle that's with a cup, you'll know if it's messed up because it literally sounds like gravel underneath the cup when you're moving. You start doing that stuff on the regular, it's going to grow. I always compare it to like the old snake in a cage routine. It can't grow if it has nowhere to go.
Right.
So oftentimes the smaller side will be tighter.
I would say that you said first thing you'd look at is the tissue. Mm-hmm. And I would say right up there with looking at the tissue based on all my injuries now later in life, I would look at the nerve supply.
True.
So, you look at so let's say you got a bicep that's smaller or not getting as pumped or something, it just won't grow. I would look at the tissue, but I would always say, okay, is there something wrong with my neck and something between my bicep and my neck? Mm-hmm. Like you gotta look through here, your radial plexus, You got to look through your trap, under your shoulder blade. You got to under your pec. You got to look at all that stuff. See if there's a nerve issue. Because now that I'm older and I've had some nerve issues, I wonder how early on I might have been able to help if I would have realized it was a nerve issue and not like a tissue injury. Because there's lots of times
like that. You got that new fit. You know what I mean? The newbie.
Yeah.
Those machines will find it for you.
Right.
They'll find a muscle that's not even firing.
Yeah.
So that's a great investment, is to pay someone to run through your body on that stuff. Because some of that stuff they can fix in one session. Just wake it up, essentially. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like oftentimes people have a muscle that's not firing. Like, glute med is a pretty common dormant muscle, but if it's firing, you have issues across the board that start coming up. Right. And it all stems from that one thing. Well, same thing applies to if a muscle will fire. If there's no connection between the muscle, the brain, whatever, you're screwed.
Right. Okay.
So over here, drugs. I don't know what he's doing. There's blood. I'm just watching things. Don't mind us. They're doing some blood glucose testing over here.
Oh goodness. What's yours?
Let's get back into bodybuilding.
You're gonna get him.
Yeah. Exactly. Tomorrow we're getting after some deadlifts since I didn't train back in one day. I figured it's a good idea.
Did you see my Did you see my one plate banded stiff leg deadlifts?
I did, but it looked brutal.
Well, I was just stretching the hams out. I was happy. I was happy to be able to do that.
How did it feel though? Truthfully, because I see a lot of guys doing the banded deads and even the banded racks. How did you feel?
So I haven't been doing stiff leg deadlifts lately, obviously, for the past month because I was hurt. But my partner Braden, that's one of the exercises that I have him focusing on. Because I'm trying to get him huge, right? So one of the things that he's tracking and pushing is his stiff leg deadlift,
which is a must.
And he got up to 405. He's repping 405 now for like set of 10, real good reps. And so then he just that was during the blast. Then during the back off, I was like, hey, he goes, instead of going to 4 plates, I want to see how 3 plates in a band feels. And I was like, yeah, fuck, let's do it. Knock yourself out. So he's been doing those for like a month, but I just haven't been joining in.
Right.
And so the other day when he's like finishing legs with stiff legs, and I was like, I'll just hop in, but we'll have to peel plates. So I was just feeling it out, but yeah, it feels good. I like that band because I like to come up straight and flex my glutes at the top.
Yeah, you're getting everything, and it's literally the opposite of what I do.
That's one of my exercises where I actually want my glutes to do a bunch of the work. And the band makes a huge difference because, if you stand straight up without the band, you almost have to lean forward a degree. Like just
because gravity's
keep a little more tension. Yeah. But with the band, is like no worries at all. It's like stays on you. And
the higher you go, the more brutal that gets.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I recommend it. We don't have banded like platforms like with the hooks on them, so you stand on the band, but it's actually pretty good feel. Is it my turn?
Sure.
Okay. Well, actually,
well, sure. You seem to have one. Let's do this.
There's one. Why are so many people using resistance bands on everything, and when the old school guys didn't? So
that's actually I like that, and here's why I like it specifically: is I am about old school basic as you can get, but I think you're a moron if you shut your brain off. Things evolved for a reason. Look at West Coast when they started doing chains and then bands and things that no one had ever heard of to get strength.
I mean West Side.
Yeah, West Side. Everything's West Coast to me because of you. Yeah. That guy's creating things that. Why would you do that? It makes no sense. The guys were strong before that. We don't need that. Well, then they started dusting everybody, and it's like, oh, yeah, maybe you're on something. So I think that as much as you got to use your head. I think sometimes I see some banded stuff, and I'm like, what are you doing?
That's
you don't need
people are,
that when you're at this level, or I went on that rant behind closed doors with you about the reverse band. You can't use a 200-pound reverse band on the hack squat. Now it's just doing the work. That's not the point.
right.
But for example, like another thing, so I wanted to do the bands on the leg press. You and I had talked about it. It's a great thing. I got hurt because of where it was at. I went on my toe just a hair, and my calf locked up. I'm not talking like lightly. I thought I tore it. And there was a couple mistakes. Number one, I was in squat shoes, so I was already on my toe. Then the band at its heaviest point, and I'm very strong, so the amount of weight I already had on was a ton. But it literally gave me like 8 adhesions that Jason had to get out with needling, and it took multiple sessions to get them to let go. I literally racked it, and it pulled my pant leg up. I was like, it's torn. I mean, it hurt like that. So you got to use your head, but I think they're a fantastic tool if you use them correctly. Just you can't be afraid of trying new stuff, but make sure you're doing it right. Also, you can band incorrectly and hurt yourself in a heartbeat.
Yeah. For sure. I think people overband stuff because they don't understand what it's for. So There's some stuff that you don't need to band because it's already on a flat strength curve.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? So like the pendulum squat is one. The pendulum squat's, easy at the bottom. Well, relatively easy to the rep.
Yeah.
When you're at your weakest. And then as you get stronger, it loads, right? Mm-hmm. So it's already banded essentially.
Yep.
And so when you band it, you actually fuck up the strength curve. Now you have to take weight off in order to get it up because the band makes it so brutal. But now that amount of weight is too easy at the bottom.
Yep.
So now instead of using, like, say 3 plates where it's like, you got to push pretty hard to get out of the bottom. And then as you get stronger, you got to push really hard to get to the top. Mm-hmm. You got to go to 2 plates because of the band.
The bottom's easy.
The bottom's easy and the top's just as heavy as the 3 plates was without the band.
Yep.
So you wind up actually fucking up the strength curve of the exercise by banding it. Another thing, and some people might hate me for this, but I see people banding hammer strength machines. And the problem with that is a lot of hammer strength machines technically don't have great strength curves to begin with.
Right.
So, like, for example, we have a plate-loaded Atlantis press, seated plate-loaded flat press.
Yeah, I love the hate that
and
thing.
It has a proper strength curve on it. So it's really heavy out of the bottom. And then as you come up, it gets a little lighter so you can lock it out.
Yep.
And as you come down into the stretch, it loads.
Yep.
So it's really, it's a tough machine, right? And then it has band pegs on it so that if you want to flip the curve and make it tougher at the top, it's an option. You band it up, and now, it's heavy out of the bottom, but then the bands, you can band it so it actually gets harder going up if you want to do that.
Yeah, you're working on your lockout essentially, yeah.
So you have the option of both ways. You can have the heavy at the bottom, or you can band it enough that it gets heavy at the top. Whereas a hammer machine, most hammer chest machines are hard at the top already and easy at the bottom. You think about the hammer incline. Mm-hmm. So the hammer incline, it's real easy to move a shit ton of weight right here. But as you come up, it fucking loads like crazy. Well, if you band that, you're doing the same thing you just did to the pendulum. You're now fucking up the strength curve. Mm. So now it's too easy at the bottom and just as hard at the top. Because you can only, there's only so much you can do at the top before you just can't do it anymore. So you're just replacing plates with bands, and now the bottom's easy.
Yeah. You've actually weakened the overall movement.
Yeah. Whereas if you let's say you banded a Smith machine, that would make sense. Right? Because now you're lighter at the bottom when you're at your weakest, and as you come up and hit the lockout, now it fucking loads into you.
You know that I'm not an old school bodybuilder all the way, because as soon as you say Smith machine, I'm squatting in my head. I literally laughed because you started pressing. Like, oh yeah.
I always liked it for inclines. I always liked Smith because Dorian.
I still do it. Yeah, I still do. It's a must.
That's my bit on bands.
I loved it. I feel like I learned something right there.
Your turn.
Okay, this is too easy for me, so I'm gonna let you. You're handling this one alone. Reverse for 8 weeks post show. I'm up 4.5 pounds in 2 months, despite various food increases. Am I playing it too safe?
Is this a guy or a girl?
Guy.
So he's only gained 4 pounds post show
In 2 months.
That sounds like he's like
Dieting.
Was he shredded?
I mean, I assume so, but
I mean, if you did the show and you were terribly out of shape, then maybe it's not too bad to be only 5 pounds over stage, because you still had 20 to lose. But if he was like in shape and pretty good shape, then I'd say he's being way too restrictive. It's by the sounds of it. Who knows? He should get his blood work checked. I don't know. Did he go off gear and lose 20 pounds of muscle?
See, I think, because this is something that I've covered before, it's probably what came up on mine. I think that the new world, when if it fits your macros hit, everyone became this. There was this fear mongering that your body was just going to freak out after a show and you're going to ruin your metabolism, from being too restricted and then too loose, and within reason, horse shit.
Right.
My thing is, bluntly, assuming he was in shape, yes, you're being way too cautious because you just spent 2 months of your off season. Let's just say he's doing the exact same show in a year. Now I'm going to be nice and say he only needs a 12-week diet. Okay.
Right.
So we're now down 5 months of 12 and you're up 4.5 pounds.
Right.
Now, this is back to how they all did. I mean, I remember watching a Fuad show, his video when I was just getting rolling, and he had just qualified for the Olympia. And the first thing Chad said, because they had a certain amount of time, was get your weight up.
Yes.
Now, get your weight up. Eat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's too much fear. It's a combo of a fear of how the body responds and the internet age that we all need to be pretty all the time.
Yeah.
Because for the gram. Like, if you want to put on a pound before your show next year, by all means, reverse out for 6 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't want my clients up 30 pounds in 5 days. But if they're 250, I do want them up 30 pounds in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
know what you mean.
I'm gonna wait. It's like, you got to get heavy again. You got to get strong again. And if you're doing it correctly, at that point, you're off of everything. So you need to use food and rest to start that growth process. So, I never rebound hard after a show, but I'd still be up 10 pounds a week.
Yeah. 4.5 sounds like, geez, that's just enough from like slight dehydration. That's just water rebound. Like, it sounds like he hasn't gained any real weight.
Yeah, you're still peeled if you're up 4.5 pounds.
Okay, I got one here. This would be interesting to talk about. We've never talked about this before, you and I. Dusty, we've never gone down this road.
Oh boy, let's go down together publicly, shall
we? What are your recommended steps against acne? I assume this is from taking steroids. Before going to Accutane.
Simple are all of my answers. Number one would be skincare. And something as simple as when you get done training, I get done training and I go to the store and I pick up my next meal and then I go home and I eat and then I check my emails and blah, 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 and then I shower. If you have an acne problem, shower at the gym.
Yeah, you got to shower as soon as possible.
Get that shit off of you. Get that skin off you. Get that dirty clothes off of you ASAP. Another thing is food. Pull all shit food out of your diet. You need to be eating quality foods. And I'm talking all the way down to processed, which I'm not against processed foods. It's got to go to.
I think if I can interrupt you for a second, I think fast food and fried food and are terrible offenders for acne, and because there's an inflammatory response going on, and also simple sugars. So exactly what you said.
Yep.
Processed food.
But I think it's important to know why, and you nailed it. You know what I mean? You have to those things, because usually, I'm fortunate that I've never had that issue, but I find that most people do. It's the nature of our country, but I guess our world, that the Accutane is the first guess. When we could probably eliminate so much with those three things that you'd be shocked. Because I'd be willing to bet that who asked that question is an offender on all of the above. Right.
Also, too, figure out if it's just the compound you're on.
Yep.
Like, I knew a guy once, he did some Winstrol.
Mm-hmm.
And he got horrendous cystic acne. Like, it was like, go to the doctor and like, doctor goes, what the fuck? Like, that sort of shit. And it took him like a year to recover.
Damn.
And then like a few years later, he just used a little bit of testosterone and had no acne. And he like was like, oh, and he's like actually having gains and growing and loving it. And he's like, I can't believe I don't have acne. And I was like, man, because Winstrol is a DHT derivative.
Yep.
And you just wonder if like him just in his body, that was just a fucking nightmare. And obviously testosterone can cause that too, but obviously in his body just wasn't a problem. And he, so his Winstrol tab a day almost ruined him. Where his like,
how crazy is that too? Because you think like
crazy.
You have to factor into what you just said, which is be logical. I think a lot of people can't like. We're in a world where we're so knowledgeable, we ignore the obvious.
Yeah,
like,
it's the drug you're on.
Yeah, it's like you added one thing and everything went sideways.
Yeah.
Pull it.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Step one, pull that out.
And Accutane, you want to avoid taking Accutane if you can. I mean, I know one of my best friends had, high school acne,
Right.
And he did Accutane in like grade 11 or 12, and his skin just was like perfect afterwards. And I don't think he never really had a problem after that. So it literally like cured him. But there's some studies that show like it can be really rough on you. Like,
but I think even that can be, everything comes back to what you said too, which is almost everything can be person to person.
Yeah. Especially with
acne. People had no issues. Yeah.
I had acne. I remember the first time I took steroids, I was like, oh wow, like I broke out on my back. I never had like cystic acne, but I had like, like young guy bodybuilder breakout kind of shit going on. And then when I noticed when I dieted for my first contest, all my acne disappeared.
Because you cleaned up all your food.
And I was like, oh, diet.
Yep.
Bingo. That's it. Diet. And that was it. And I just knew after that it was diet related. And I could only handle so much fast food, and I could only, and if I started pigging out too much and eating like garbage, I'd start getting I had some zits on a couple zits on my trap and one on my delt, and one on my lat. I'm like, fuck, I'm having Burger King 3 times a week. Let's fucking cut this back. It also makes a difference too. Like, let's say you eat really healthy and clean like I do, and then you have 3 junk meals a week.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to have far less impact than if you're eating a ton of fucking food and you have 3 shit meals a week, because you're just that much over and above all the, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you know how dieting kind of cleans you out.
Oh, for sure.
So, and being in a calorie surplus doesn't.
Right.
So, okay, your turn.
Will you watch the Super Bowl, and who will win?
Yes, I will watch the Super Bowl. I will watch it from the front desk at the gym, most likely. And you know what? I can't help myself. I'm pulling for Brady. I want the Bucks to win.
Yep.
I was never a Brady fan. I almost wish I could go back and appreciate him more when he was, coming up from 2001 and onward, winning all those Super Bowls and shit. And there was a period of time where I was like, fuck New England, whatever. I just wasn't a New England fan.
Right.
And then I can't remember what year it was. It was like 2015 or something, one of their Super Bowls that they won,
mm-hmm.
where he just won me over that game. The way they engineered the final couple drives and came back, and that whole playoff, they did that a few times in the playoffs. I can't remember what year, but that's the story of them anyways. It's not like it's one where they did that. But there just came a point when Brady's ability to find a way to win just won me over.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I don't even give a fuck. Like, this guy's fucking awesome. This guy is like not even that athletic, but his just mind he's just better than everyone else. He looks at your defense and he goes, oh, that's what they're doing.
Right.
And he calls his own plays. Belichick let him call his own plays for like fucking how many years?
He starts setting them out and just saying, do what you do.
And then you know what else? I got to admit, like, remember a couple years ago when they won the Super Bowl? Him and Gronk doing those stupid videos where they're walking from the plane.
They did another one again.
They did another one the other day. It was funny because I forgot about them. And didn't they do one like every week when they won a game? They do one where they're walking across the tarmac. He's just got that cheesy smile, and Gronk's doing something stupid in the background. And then the other day I look, and Tom got that stupid smile, and Gronk pulls the shirt up, and Bad Boys is playing. I just saw, you fucking clowns, and I just love those guys. I know so many people fucking hate them, but they have just completely won me over. I don't give a fuck. I want to see Brady win another one and just go down as like one of the all-time greatest athletes to ever play any sport ever. And when people talk about leaders and they say Jordan and Gretzky, they have to say Brady.
Yeah, but I think you already have to. But I mean,
you already have to.
When you said sports, I'm thinking one of the all-time greatest winners. It's just what you do. You just win. You know what I mean? Because going into this Super Bowl, you can't deny that the Chiefs are a better team.
Oh yeah, and like, Mahomes is like,
yeah. I don't. I mean, that's what's funny is if somebody said to me, okay, how do you see this break now? I'm like, I think the Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah, you know what? I think Mahomes actually has the advantage.
Yeah, well, I mean, across the board, and he's phenomenal also, but he's also got a better team. But this is also the same thing. I'm on that feel-good thing of like, but if anyone could beat him, like you just, I guess if I was Mahomes, Brady is exactly who I'd want to come up against though, because I'd want to beat him.
Yeah, and if you were saying, okay, we're going to play Mahomes for the Super Bowl this weekend, who do you want? And you're looking at all the 30-something quarterbacks that can get the job done and all this, and then you got this 45. Was he 45?
I think it's 42 or 44. I remember, but yeah.
It is. Well, we'll say 43. We'll split the difference.
There you go.
You got this 43-year-old dude who's not even that athletic and doesn't really have foot speed.
Yeah, he's not running.
And isn't he had a couple surgeries by now?
Oh, God, dude.
I don't know. I would still pick him. I'd be like, that's the guy we're going to pick to try to win this game. Because it's not even about your arm or your foot speed or anything. It's about like, okay, who can handle the pressure? Who can handle the heat?
Yeah, I think he feels
has proven themselves to be the type of person that thrives in unwinnable situations. That's a characteristic in people that is so hard to find and so rare. People that face absolutely unwinnable situations and repeatedly find a way to come out on top.
I saw a meme the other day. It had Belichick and it said, now the world knows that Brady was the system.
We got a system here in New England.
It's called He's the Quarterback. I was just looking. It's funny. Like, he was drafted 199th.
So I heard something really great about Brady. I can't remember who said it, but he was drafted in the 6th round, and he's 199th. And they said, what do you think makes Tom Brady so great? And why do you think he continues to want to win so badly?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, it's easy. Tom was drafted in the 6th round. And to this day, every single morning he gets out of bed, it fucking pisses him off.
Right.
He's had a chip on his shoulder for 20 years that he was drafted in the 6th round.
And he's dusting people.
Pissed him off, and it still pisses him off.
I could actually see that for sure.
I thought that was awesome. Okay. Is that your question?
That was mine. I like that we don't even know anymore.
Yeah, I like that we get hooked on it. I want to hear Bad Boys one more time. With this, I want to see them walking across the turf or walking across the parking lot with Gronk holding it, Brady smiling. I want one more. You know what I mean? Do you ever go camping, Dusty?
Glamping, yes.
Glamping?
Yeah.
Do you ever go camping as a bodybuilder? What do you do with your food? But you go glamping.
That is right.
Well, it's where you like stay in a hotel by the park.
It's actually a thing. You can like go on Airbnb and look up glamping locations, and so you've got this glorious outdoor thing, but you're hanging out in $1 million house.
Right.
That's more my style. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
okay.
It's like I had somebody say like, oh, how do those tires, how are they off road on my truck? I'm like, what the fuck would I know? I don't like when there's dust on my car.
Right.
Out in the dirt.
I was
not my deal, but I like s'mores.
Well, okay, there you go. So do you need to take the supplies to cook s'mores on the open fire pit in the backyard of the $1 million house?
No, because here's the thing. If you go to Vegas, 9 Steakhouse brings you fire to the table, and you can have s'mores at a 5-star restaurant. They actually bring you fire.
This camping question has gone off the rails.
We've established who I am thoroughly on this camping.
Yes. How do you prep for camping? Well, make sure you shave your nuts.
Sure, no one's shaving.
Got to be nice and trimmed up ahead of time. Now, I haven't gone camping in a long, long time, but my limit would be camping where there are shower facilities right there. Like that would be the.
You're not willing to do like the river shower?
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that sort of thing. It's like I want a shower. I want like a little getaway in the morning where life is normal, and then I can go sit by the fire and pretend I'm camping, even though the city's just like 10 minutes that way.
What about toilet?
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm happy to pee in my campsite routinely, but when it's dump time, I want a facility. Or at least a motorhome. I do a motorhome. Motorhome would be awesome.
You're getting closer. You're just edging you up. All of a sudden, we're in Robin Dana's fifth wheel.
Right.
Which is
now we got the extended, the little mini house that opens on the side. Yeah, you got You roll out the artificial turf. Put your lawn chairs on it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the answer to your question, sir, is no. Neither of us camp.
The answer to your question is take eggs and steaks and burgers and a skillet and enjoy some good old-fashioned fire-cooked food if that's what you're doing.
Temperature control is all you need to worry about. Is how you're going to keep your food from going bad. That's it.
Yeah, I'm sure you got coolers or you got a fridge in the motorhome or something. Just figure it out. And don't be like, come on now. If you're going camping, come on. You don't have to
camp.
You're camping. Take a couple days. Just eat a lot and just enjoy yourself.
Please do not be lunging down the sidewalk.
Drink some beers, fuck in the tent, do your thing. Take a lot of baby wipes.
Yes. Wipes, they're bigger.
That's
unsaid.
You don't need to follow my advice. You don't know. You know what I mean?
You don't know. I know what you mean, and I absolutely do.
Shit.
Well, this is good. This is more of a statement, but I'm going to just say it and we're going to move on. This guy made my steak and mac and cheese dinner for the lady the other night, and he said she took the old D for a ride.
She took the what?
D for a ride afterwards, so I basically helped him.
Right on. I had a friend of mine send me a picture of pink macaroni. That pink craft dinner. And they said,
okay.
Do you think Dusty would eat this with his steak?
No. I don't back it at all. I don't even know what they're thinking. They didn't even call me ahead and ask if that was okay, because it's not.
So what did they do again? Is it a Valentine's Day special edition?
It's a weird flavor. It's some sweet. No.
Really? It's a different flavor. I just thought it was pink.
No, it actually is some garbage tasting sweet macaroni and cheese.
Damn. Okay.
Oh, hey, this is a good one for you. Well, for both of us, but you can answer. About to buy my first house. Unsure if I should continue with my coach or not to save the money.
Well, I mean, do they need a coach? What's their situation?
Yeah, it's a little complicated. That's why I was going to toss it to you. I mean,
do you need the coach? Do you need the money? Like, what's your situation? Like, is your house payment a breeze to make and you're going to compete soon and you like your coach, or is the coach just like a frivolous thing that you're doing, even though you're, not really that serious and it's fun to have and everything, but now the bills are really tight and your girlfriend's fighting with you? Like, I don't know. What's your situation? Like, you got to decide what you're going to spend your money on. That's why you always ask your clients, can you afford this?
Yeah, no, I'll ask people if they're reaching out and they're like a college student and they're saying, hey, I'm going to save. I say, well, before you hire me, you got to make sure you have the money to buy the food.
Right.
And everything else. So if you can't do that, don't hire me at all, because I'm going to be a waste of your money. You need to be able to eat,
Mm-hmm. Okay. Here's one. Top 3 pieces of life advice for 20-year-olds.
You're not ready to get married. Don't move her in. And let's see. What's the last one? Make sure that the pans are somewhere she can't reach them when you get in an argument.
Okay. You're not ready to get married. Don't move her in, and remove weapons from her near reach.
Yes.
Oh, that's not bad. I like those three. I'm going to go a little deeper.
How would you go deeper than that?
I'm going to say, make sure, I don't care how much it is, even if it's fucking $50 a month, make sure you're investing your money into something. Start now. Start yesterday. I don't care if it's a mutual fund. I don't care if it's a piggy bank. Do something with your money. Don't just not save.
Right.
You know what I mean? Find something to invest your money into. Put $50 a month into Bitcoin, for Christ's sake. Do something with it. Don't just not invest, because the years go by, and every year that goes by now, if you understand compound interest, when you're my age, when you're 45 years old, you're going to look at the amount of money that you have and your mutuals and your this and your that, and you're going to go, fuck, am I ever glad I started when I was 21? Holy shit, I can't imagine if I hadn't started. Because that's just that emergency shit, right? Like, if, things get bad, there's that emergency there, and you realize it adds up, makes a big difference over time, even if you don't invest much monthly.
Fun fact for you on that subject real quick, because I just learned this the other day. If you make one additional payment on your house every year, you'll knock 6 years off of the total on your 30-year loan.
Yep.
Dude.
Yep.
One extra payment.
That's how interest works. Yeah, it's crazy. I know.
Because I like to, so like when I buy things that are frivolous, like I like to do, I just double the payments to get rid of them. And I was having that conversation, and my friend goes, "Oh, same with the house. I just do one extra payment." I was like, "Oh, like not thinking." That knocked 6 years off. I was like,
"Yeah."
What?
There's been a couple times now where, like, at the end of the year, I think I can put like 15 or 20 grand down without any penalty or whatever. Just like throw it on there, And I think I've done 10 a couple times where I had it and I was like, I'm just going to throw this down on my mortgage. And it's a good idea. I mean, you just throw a few payments on there, because you don't even have to do just one. You can do 2 or 3. Like, you can give do $5 grand at the end of the year. It makes a huge difference in 20 years.
Yeah. It's just wacky to think, though, because you're talking about, if you did that over the course of a year in your brain, for most people, let's say their mortgage is $2 grand, it's nothing.
Yeah, it adds up a lot.
Don't go to Starbucks.
Yeah.
Do that.
Remember, Elon Musk has just, his 38 billion or whatever is just not buying 340 million lattes. Remember that meme, whatever it was?
Yeah, that's awesome.
So try to save some money. Do something with your money. Invest a few bucks. Secondly, don't give up on your passion. Don't stop doing the stuff you love so that you can do your 9-to-5 office job that your parents tell you you're supposed to just invest all your life into and start acting like an adult. Because if you do that, you won't be 45 years old still working out at the gym every day and riding a BMX bike.
I back that, actually.
Not like that's anything you want to be doing. No, don't sell out your passions. Invest your money, don't sell out your passions. And the third most important thing, don't come in the front hole.
Which goes more online with what I was saying. Finally, you're on the same page with me. You went all this deep stuff. It was confusing me.
Yeah.
Solid advice, though. I give you that.
You know. Is this your? Yeah, it's your turn.
Dusty. Oh, this is good. This is a joint one. It says, not a question. Just wanted to thank you guys for making me get maximum results with minimum anabolics.
Oh, did he DM you that?
No, just a question.
Okay, because I had like a very similar DM. I'm wondering if it's the same person.
Yeah,
awesome.
Probably. Yeah, I do love seeing that because it's a very common theme I'm getting these days.
Yeah.
I love when I read that, and my very next one I'm thinking about reading is what dose should I take of this? Oh, boy. No.
Okay,
here's a good one. It's a good one because it matters at this age. If you wanted to grow your fitness Instagram, how would you go about doing it?
You want to grow your Instagram?
Yeah, but like fitness, like not just to be cool.
Jesus, not like I'm an expert. I know a bunch of stuff I'm supposed to be doing.
I didn't say you had to do it. It's not that important to you.
Yeah.
But if they did, what would you say?
Well, I mean, you gotta. I think the key is engagement. You can't just post. You have to engage. You know, you have to be like answering comments, responding to DMs. I know all the little stuff you're supposed to do. Like, you're not just supposed to put up a post, but then you're supposed to ask them a question, right? Like, you don't just put up a post and you go, how many people are training legs today? And then, you know, all those people, like, there's all those, all those statistical, like those things that actually make a numbers difference, you know,
right?
That I don't necessarily do because I don't want it to feel like I'm just trying to do that. I don't know. I'm terrible with that shit, Dusty. But yeah, engagement, being yourself. I don't know. These are things I would do. Not bombing people with too much stuff. Like, there's a limit, you know. Mm-hmm. It has to be that happy medium. You have to offer them some value, you know. You can't just not offer value. Like, you know, you see so many people, like, I won't pick anyone out of a crowd or whatever. There's just millions of people doing it, but they'll just kind of post how great they are.
Right.
But it doesn't provide any value, and it doesn't really help anyone with anything. And, you know, that sort of stuff.
I think you nailed it right there. I think providing value is the biggest thing.
You have to provide some value. And I have to plug my computer in.
Well, perfect. What are we going to do next? We're going to make food. We're going to make food.
Yeah, maybe give away something.
Beautiful. I'm almost done. Then we'll crank. I just like to write in the middle of a podcast, start talking to you guys. It's totally normal. Like 1 second, I just do like one of these. And, just 1 second.
But. Got it. There we go. Because we were late recording today, Dusty, I let my computer sit on for a while, and I mistimed my battery charge. You know how it works.
Well, someone really blindsided by just calling you. Like, I believe we were starting. And I was like, oh, yeah.
Well, we were actually like 20 minutes late, and I was like, where's Dusty? And me and Scott are sitting here, and then I get a call from you. You're like, I just got off a plane.
Girl, that's not going to work, is it? That's not.
So here's a question, Dusty. This was in my DMs, but this guy's a good guy, so I want to reply to him. His name's Jerry. I have a lot of people ask me this because you and I talk about rest days, right?
Yes.
We talk about the importance of rest days. He goes, would you still go to the gym on your rest day for cardio? Maybe do calves, do abs, do forearms.
You're training to a not rest day.
Right. So my definition of a rest day is no weight training at all.
Agreed.
Right. Because if you're prepping, you still got cardio, or you might have cardio for your just off-season fitness or whatever. Cardio is fine. I mean, cardio is just life. Like, what, you can't walk around today because it's your rest day, So cardio doesn't count. Cardio goes wherever you got to put it to get it done. That's what I tell everybody. Do your cardio. All questions about when and if and how all boil down to, did you do it?
Agreed. 1,000,000%. I'm so glad you said that.
Like, all I give a fuck about, yes, there's a better time, then there's a worse, there's, blah, 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 blah. Did you do it? Did you do your cardio? That's all I care about. But rest days are for resting, no lifting weights. And the reason I say that is because you're trying to give it's systemic rest. Like you're trying to rest your nervous system, rest your mind, rest your joints, rest your spine, rest everything, rest your ankle joints from being loaded. You don't do 800-pound calf raises on your day off.
I think oftentimes what people don't realize is the reason they want to do all that is it's not even really about being better bodybuilders. It's because they have a 2-hour hole in their day that they don't know what to do with.
That's very common.
Because I know that was how I was. So my thing is find something, in my opinion, unbodybuilding related to do with your time.
Yes.
Educate, hobby, something. Because I have found, one thing early on in my career, Jose helped me with this a ton, was I was an obsessive bodybuilder. Everything was weighed. Everything was measured. Everything was the same. And he was like, you got to remove that stick from your ass. It's off season. Yeah, sure. You can eat your food, but you might want some extra sometimes, and you might want to do this. And I found that if I got away from bodybuilding a little bit, still ate my food, that's just living, I got better. And when I was in the gym, it was better. The day off. And I also think if you want to train every day in some way, you're probably not training hard enough. I can tell you, I don't want to go to the gym on my off days. I'm smoked. I'm like, I don't even want to think about that place. But guess what? After that 24 hours, I'm ready.
That's exactly the number one thing. If you feel like lifting weights on your rest day, that's why, like, the day after legs, I typically don't train.
Yep.
Because I literally just don't even fucking want to.
Yeah.
And I never really have. Like I just wanted to grow, and I want my fucking sore legs to recover, and I want, oh fuck, and I feel like I got hit by a car, and and there's a bit kind of a haze, like I took like a real long acting edible, and just sort of like I remember those leg days, those like when I was sized up and killing myself in the gym. Like I tell people I spent 25 years with really sore legs every week.
Yep.
Every fucking week. And, so that was just my opinion. The only thing I do after legs is I used to have arm day sometimes.
Right.
And, but you should want time off weights, I think. And you need the rest. And that's when you're growing. That's the magic.
For sure.
You sit around and get bigger that day. Hey?
Agreed.
Okay, let's do one more, Dusty, and then I got to shoot.
Likewise, I gotta shoot literally. It's funny you said that. If you found something really good, jump. I wanted to get finished with a good one.
Finish with a good one?
Like a real strong one. I want to finish.
Let's finish with a good one? Damn. Finish on a high note?
Sure, you do that too.
Sometimes we should just finish the episode 3 questions in it. Sometimes that's the best question.
Yeah, we're done now. I'm done here.
I have a bunch of great ones that I'm going to do on my own.
Well, give me one of them, because I don't really have a bunch of crazy ones here. Give me one. Give me one.
Give me like one of the questions that I would have saved for myself.
Yes, and you can still use it. You can answer it before they see this.
What's your favorite guitar solo of all time?
I don't have a great list because I'm not nearly as in depth as you. But because I only have one, I'm going to go with it. I'm going with Slash in November Rain.
That is so funny that you said that, because that's a great pick. That's a great pick, Dusty. That's like you could have said that you thought about it for days, and you thought of hundreds of albums, and you went through your vinyl collection. You let your fingers dance through your vinyl collection, all of the rows and rows of records. I've heard so many records I can't possibly think, and I narrowed it down. That'd be a good answer. You could have played that off as a pro. That's a pro answer.
I feel good about that, but yeah, it's the only one I know. So there you go.
That's a pro answer. November Rain's a pro answer. It's funny. I actually have a good friend. His name's Bill from high school. And he wanted to do a show once. He was one of those guys that always had, like, he's always athletic, loved his bodybuilding, and played all the sports. And he's like, I want to do one show, Ronnie. You got to help me.
Right.
And so I helped him for one show. And he fucking looked good. He had shredded glutes, shredded quads. He's got the athletic legs with the calves and everything. Did really well in his first show. Looked awesome. Like, I was so fucking happy with how he turned out. And his posing routine was the best minute of the November Rain guitar solo. And I remember he told me, he's like, I got a surprise for you. And then when he came out on
this
stage,
is for Ronnie.
Yeah, he came out on stage and he was like, and I said, I loved your routine, man. It was awesome, because I didn't help him with his routine. He did it all himself. And he's like, yeah, ever since I always wanted to pose to that guitar solo. So it's funny that you mentioned that, because that actually happened.
That's classic. And what was out to your answer? Because you actually do have a vinyl collection and 10,000 choices.
Yeah, there's a bunch of great ones, man. That's hard to say.
Sometimes it's easier to only have one choice.
Well, my favorite, everyone always asks me, I've had people ask me, what's your favorite AC/DC guitar solo? And I always say it's from a song called Riff Raff. And it's from the 70s, and it's an old 70s AC/DC song. And the song Riff Raff, the whole song, is like one of their best songs. If you're just trying to listen to like guitar riffs and how fucking fast and amazing they can play, the song Riff Raff is just a fucking ass kicker. And the guitar solo in it's just ridiculous. It's some of his fastest, most like kind of crazy playing, and it's a nut solo. But yeah, I like that. I'll say Riff Raff. That's my favorite AC/DC solo. There's a great, the Metallica Black album,
Yes.
like Enter Sandman album. There's
the one that everyone has.
Yeah, the one that like blew them up commercially. There's a great there's a documentary about the making of that album. Mm-hmm. And they made that album with Bob Rock, who's like a legendary producer. He did like a bunch of Def Leppard records. And the reason they hired Bob Rock was because they wanted it to be a commercial album. Like, they wanted to go up. They wanted to get played on the radio.
Yeah.
Because Metallica wasn't getting radio play before that, right? They were doing 8-minute metal songs, right? And then they hire Bob Rock, and he's like, okay, we're going to do some 4-minute songs on this album, and we're going to actually get radio play, right?
Right.
And they did this song, The Unforgiven.
Yep.
And it needed a solo. And there's a scene in the documentary where Kirk Hammett is like, he's trying to fucking figure out the solo for this song. He just doesn't know where it's going to go, and he's getting frustrated, and Bob's getting frustrated, and they leave it for a few days, and blah, blah, blah. And then Bob's sitting in the sound booth, and Kirk just walks in with his guitar, and he plugs right into the soundboard, and he goes, cue it up. And Bob like cues it up, and everyone just shuts the fuck up. And they play the track, and Kurt just lays a solo down, and they fucking get it. That's it.
We're done here.
Yeah. Just took a while. And then it just came to him, and he's like, I know where I'm going with this. Fucking turn it on. Let's go. Play the track. And they recorded it, and that's the solo on the album. And it's like, that's a great one. The Unforgiven by Metallica. That's a great solo. But it's even better if you know the story behind it, right? Like, they kind of had to grind it out. So
Find it.
Yeah. Bob Rock is the guy who got the crazy reputation for producing like perfectly sounding albums.
Right.
And one of the things he did was when he did an album with Def Leppard, I think it was Hysteria or Pyromania. I can't remember, but one of their massive, like, Def Leppard had those albums where they had like 5 number 1 hits.
Right.
He actually did the guitar solos. He would make the guitar player take all the strings but one off his guitar and record all the notes perfectly on that string only. Then the next string, then the next string, one string at a time. So there was no possible interference or like micro sound of a finger dragging on a string or anything. And then he laid them all over top of each other. And that's the guitar solo on the album.
It almost makes it not real.
So it's like pieced together. And also, the Thunderstruck riff that Angus plays, like, that, that's all hammer-ons on one string. So he's like, he's hitting the string and letting it go 0. And he's doing it all down, but it's only one string. So when they recorded it in the studio, they actually took all the other strings off the guitar. So there was no like slight little touch or anything. And Angus was just playing it on one single string, so it would be absolutely perfect.
That's wacky.
Yeah, cool shit like that. Makes albums cooler to listen to when you listen to them. And that's why when you hear Thunderstruck on the album, and then you hear Thunderstruck live sounds a little rougher because there's little like mutes and little things.
Touch it, yeah.
Yeah, like so you listen to it live, you listen to it studio, and it's different. But yeah, it's cool when you know stuff like that about music. It's like makes it more interesting. So,
yeah, which makes Ron the most interesting man in the world.
I don't know. Okay, Dustin. Thanks everybody. Remember, like, share, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. Play this in the background while you're making breakfast, and your girlfriend goes, "Why the fuck do you listen to this shit?" Do that for us.
She loves us.
and I'm not just saying this for the attention, Dusty, but love hearing from our female viewers.
True that.
Is awesome. Because like we honestly, week after week, I can't believe we have any. And YouTube says we only have like 2% female viewers, but
all 3 of them are really awesome.
They're awesome. They're all awesome. So thank you to you ladies. You're the ladies of iron that listen to the show. And Missy, I commented on Missy's video the other day where she's practicing in her yard.
Oh boy.
Wasn't that amazing?
Oh, it still scared me. Even though I already know, I was like,
It was awesome because she told that story, and I just said, hey, like this is awesome. Your neighbors say, you said your neighbors must think you're crazy or whatever. Yeah. And then she replied like, oh my God, your show's the best. So it's good to know she remembers being on.
There we go. Well, I pay her for that.
Remember, I'd rather be terrible than forgotten.
And we definitely are.
Okay. Thanks everybody. And remember, it's just bodybuilding.